Today with Hevo, the topic of webinar is building production-ready pipeline, production-ready data products on Snowflake using AI. And to help us, walk through how this happens, how we can actually achieve it. What is the problem statement that we are trying to solve? We have Mandeep, who is a data platform architect at Texas Capital and also a Snowflake data superhero.
As you can see, the slide says every organization has data flowing in multiple source systems from multiple source systems like MySQL, Postgres, CRM records, Salesforce, you call it, you name it, you have it. But the people who build those pipelines, build those ETL pipelines, they don't know what the context of that is, what's the entire language it is. Neither they have the full picture. Same as the consumers as well. They they know the context, but they do not maintain the pipeline. That's where the gap is. That's where, if you can see, our on the left hand side, you have data producers who are the engineering team leads. They take up integration, transformations, scaling the data, doing the ETL pipelines, and making sure the raw complex data is reliable, trustworthy. Whereas data consumers, they just access the data, they just understand the context of the data and generate business value. What we saw and we captured is the gap. Gap is that generally we have seen any reporting, it takes 3 to 5 days to build. Kind of 40% of requests are repeat asks, whereas that's where the data products comes in, where it once created, it can be used multiple times. 1 in 3 metrics is has no clear owner. Somebody created a report 2 years back. Nobody knows who owns it, who runs it, where it belongs. 60 to 70% of decisions are made as per historical data. You know what? Last February we had this much of numbers. Maybe it should be near around that instead of having accuracy. That's where the delayed decisions, duplicate efforts, and the data that's technically accurate but practically unusable. That's where the data product fix this.
That's such a good point to start with. Like I mentioned, very used to problem, often ignored, and very rightly said. Every organization has data flowing in and from multiple systems. In fact, in the live demo, we have a billing data coming in from PostgreSQL. We have a product data coming from MySQL. So we'll definitely showcase this to all the participants over here. But moving on, how do we enable this in Snowflake? How do we create the data product? Can you just walk us through that?
Sure. So data product, as we discussed, has some core principles, some characteristics, and then so first is the most important is data. That should be high quality, reliable, business ready data sets. Metadata, they should be definitions, lineage, ownership, governance. And then last but not the least is access. It should be secure, controlled, and self-service consumption wherever it works actually happens. Other characteristics of data product is it should be packaged, reusable, and agile, and at the same time demand driven. I'll give you two examples, one in a layman language, what it means. Think of a store, a grocery store, where they keep sugar, packaged sugar for consumption. The store's responsibility is to keep the sugar fresh, clean, and always available. Whereas the consumers, which are the data consumers, they just use that same sugar. One consumer can use it for making a cake, another can use it for making ice creams, other one can make use it for making smoothies. You see, data products, data producers are making the data available, secure, fresh, and consumers are using for different use cases. That's where the data products comes in, that we package that sugar in a way that consumers can use it for their specific curated demand-driven usage. Another good example I have is a simple way in your life you have seen your electricity sockets. So data producers here, the electricity provider is making sure your home has a data electricity power outlet. But as a consumer, you can use that socket for using a laptop, a TV, or using a kettle. So the data producers does not do not care how the consumer is going to use it, but they'll provide it keep it always available, up and running, secure, but the consumers can use it in various ways. That's where it says once created, multiple usage.
Yeah.
And I hope that example helps you understand more deeper on what is data products. Absolutely. So with a data set provided by Hevo, we got three data products under billing. We have customer data, how the billing cycle works, what plans they have, what kind of revenue we are generating. So we came up with three data products where revenue by product, growth analysis, and profitability and predictability. These are the three products which will be used by different consumers, different departments, and the downstream customers as well. We can customize it, provide it in a different uh, way within Snowflake. We'll talk about that in a later slide. But Kushagra, can you go to the next slide, please, so I can
Sure.
go one by one on each data product. First is revenue by product, where this will talk about which plans generate the most revenue, what percentage of total revenue is enterprise versus standard, what is platinum, how much we are invoicing versus actually collecting. Is there any late fees? Is there any late payments coming up from customers? So this will give you a quick answers to your questions on our revenue generation. Can you go to the next slide, please? Second is growth analysis. This, as it obviously shows with the name, it shows you what's a growth pattern, which plant is growing faster month over month, which plants need some uh, marketing steps, some coupons to be sent out, or is it the growth accelerating, stable, or declining? Which what account, what customers, are at rate risk, churn risk of falling out. If they're not using the service more than 2 3 months, maybe they might opt out. So maybe you can send them some reminders, you can send them some new deals, they can upscale, be engaged. So that's the second growth analysis product we have, which is dedicated for growth analysis. Could you go to the next slide? Okay. And the third one is profitability and predictability, where we, uh, we can predict and measure the profitability of which accounts are most at risk. uh, what is each customer's estimated lifetime value? How much is like, are we having customers long time with us, or they're going up and down? How reliable does each customer pay? Are they going always skipping our payments? Are they paying on time? Maybe we can give them some benefits of being our loyal customers. That's what the outcome can be here from here. Who are our platform, platinum, gold, silver accounts as well. So this kind of gives you overview of the whole data products as well. The three: revenue, growth, and profitability. Imagine this curated demand-driven data product was not there. Your data analyst or teams would have been querying number of times, thousands of tables, finding this, joining these separate tables into one, and going from there. Now they don't have to run those various extra queries. Within 2 3 queries, they'll get their answers. Within a click of a button, they'll see the pattern in a graphical way. In a click of a button, they'll get real-time data. So the number of queries has gone down, the number of effort has gone down. Now they just get a curated, demand-driven, specific use case package, sugar, or a socket for your laptop specifically.
Right. Activation of these data products, Mandeep. Just take us through how we can create a product. Just help us through all of these architectural points.
Yeah, absolutely. So once we get the data ingested by Hevo within Snowflake ecosystem, we have various tools within Snowflake. They have enabled it with a lot of tools where we can do for C-level executive, for your downstream, for using AI. You can have various functions. For example, Streamlit. That is uh, a lightweight app where you can have the data graphically represented. You can see quickly what the percentage is. You can do a backend Python programming where you can represent the data in a graphical manner, helping the C executive to see it nicely, meaning data doesn't leave out of Snowflake, data stays within Snowflake. It's like kind of a Power BI dashboard. You can get a whole extensive dashboard with all the bells and whistles of buttons, graphs, pie charts. We'll see that demo as well when we go to the next slide. Cortex, they are a huge. If you go back a little bit, one slide back, Kushagra. Cortex semantic views, AI-driven functions, extensive details there. We can have a semantic view where your data analyst can go and ask questions in a layman English language LLM, just asking questions, and they'll get answers and this query, SQL query, and the dashboard or snippet of the data as well. We'll go through that too. Secure data sharing. This is where your downstream comes, where we want to share that data with your downstream consumers, and we can share that securely encrypted, and only they can see the data. And then Cortex Code, that's another tool recently onboarded, which is like an autopilot for you. You can just type your question, type your requirement, it will build it for you. You can build a Streamlit app, you can build a Cortex semantic view, you can create all the DDLs, what you can understand your data, metadata, and it can be a assistant for you within Snowflake. We'll see all of these quick demo in the next slides and go from there. So Kushagra, can go to the next slide for the AI functions. I can just briefly talk about them.
I was way too excited for the AI slide, hence I moved quickly, but yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the complete feature overview, which is more specific to data products and how we can enhance your data so it adds the value. So if you see SQL functions, we have classify, filter, sentiments. It can read your data and give you a sentiment. Is it positive? Is it negative? Aggregation, extract. It can extract your PDFs, your documents, same as in AI skill functions. Complete is where you can generate your descriptions of your columns, describe, parse the document, and then Cortex functions. Cortex is where you have Cortex analyst, where you can do LLM questions to your Cortex analyst, Cortex search, which is for your unstructured data, Cortex agents, very important, where you can add your custom tools. That could be semantic views, that could be your stored procedures, UDFs, where you can ask questions. It's pretty amazing how it works. It can give you accurate answers. And then on top of that, Snowflake Intelligence, all of the top of those three can be embedded into Snowflake Intelligence. It's kind of using your Claude or your ChatGPT model and then adding tools to it, adding those powers of agents, search, and analysts. So you can, within the same window, you can ask all the questions on your data. And then we also have ML prediction models, anomaly detection, forecasting, classification, regression, Arctic LLM. The list is unending, but we'll cover off some of them today, and then hopefully we can cover more detailed one in future seminars.
Over to you.
Thank you, Kushagra. Let me see if I can share my screen. Yep, I can do it. Let me know when you can see my screen.
I can.
Kushagra, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is where the second half of the fun starts. Hevo did his magic. We got the data. That's the database we have. PostgreSQL billing. We have billing cycles, and the columns we have account ID, billing ID, created time, paid date, payment method, payment status. We have contracts, what kind of contracts we have, what's the USD value on that, monthly revenue generation, end date, created date, terms of month. We're getting all those data which Kushagra just ingested. We have the plans, what kind of plan we have, what the plan ID, plan name here, and the seats, and the usage events, how the customers, the consumers are using those categories of their memberships, what's the indulgence. So that's what data we have received within Snowflake. Using these 5 tables, we will create our data products as we discussed about revenue generation, growth analysis, and profitability. Starting with data products, So I'll create a new database called EDM, DPEDM, meaning Data Product Enterprise Data Management. And then I'll create a schema, which will be billing data products, leaving a comment as well. It talks about analytical data products building for Postgres billing source tables. The layer one is a base smart view, and then we'll join all 5 sort tables into one clean, denormalized row per billing cycle. So these are my DDLs which I'm going to run, which will be doing the first the base billing mart, where I'm going to calculate the due dates, paid or not. Then I'll have my revenue generation data product view, where I'm again calculating the case statements, is it a time and failed or overdue on the payment structure. Then I have the growth analysis, what's the trend, how the growth is going, which are the areas, what are the areas where there's more attention required from different teams. And I'll calculate those metrics here just in the view. And then last is will be the profitability view, where I'll have the account ID, current plan name, and what's the metric on the profitability. Is it going to go increase, go to decrease? Payment health, is it always failing, or is there getting late, overdue? I'll calculate all those stuff. Once I have this views ready, I have now various ways to how I can empower and enable these data products with the downstream or my internal teams, or I can do it from a C-level executive as well. First, we'll start with Streamlit. That is where we can graphically show them the data. So we were talking about AI functions. This is our Cortex code, also called as Coco. What I can do here is I can just simply prompt create Streamlit app for me, which shows the metrics from PS, SQL, billing database, and provides me all the uh, graphs and information for decision making. So what Cortex code will do is will take my prompt, generate a Streamlit app for me, the way it's done here. I can simply go in and do it. I don't have to write all this code. All I can do is I can just tweak some cosmetic changes, some data changes I can do. All I can do is once this is done, I can create this, I can copy it and use it in a Streamlit app. While this runs, I can show you how it looks like. This is the Streamlit tab, which have 3 data products. I have revenue by product, growth analysis, and profitability all in one dashboard. Data doesn't go out. Everything is within Snowflake. I can see here the total monthly revenue, the invoice was collected, payment health plan, everything looks good. I have all the numbers handy. I can give it to my leadership real quick. I can take them a screenshot, provide them real. They don't have to run queries. They don't have to go and fetch data. They don't have to run multiple running queries to find out where data belong, what changed. In this one chart, they can come and see what's happening. Growth analysis, same thing. I have the net new, monthly revenue, monthly by monthly plan. I have all those plans, enterprise, enterprise plus, professional, what's going up, what's going down. Cumulative MRR plan, again, a nice way to see, show to present to your leadership to understand what's going on and taking the decisions. This gives you extensive dashboarding within Snowflake. Data doesn't go out, it's in there, it's secured and governed. So this is one way you can have the data product represented in a graphical manner. It says key metrics. I have total 30 accounts. I have high churn risk. That means 2 customers are probable they're gonna leave out or go out, opt out of our membership. So I can probably send them some, the marketing team can see this, and maybe in that category of customers or geographical area can start some coupons or marketing deals. That way they come back and be motivated to be part of it. Our profit, upsell opportunities. To see, it's an extensive dashboard you can use just from your data products. You don't have to write numerous queries. So this was the first part where we are talking about semantic Streamlit apps. Now I'm going to show you about semantic views. That's where we're gonna have, this is another Cortex analyst function where you can kind of have curated, calculated metrics already provided for your team, and they can just write a question and they'll get the answer. They don't have to even write a query anymore. They can just write what is what, and it will show you what it can take out. This is the syntax for a semantic view where I have my tables, dimensions, and metrics, what I'm calculating here, total collected revenue, different total MMR, average collection rate, total revenue gap, total failed payments. This is all I'm calculating within my semantic view. That it means it gives the accurate answer, pinpoint answer. That way there's no redundant details or data coming out. So once I take this semantic view, I can take it back in the semantic view viewer. If you see my question, the question I asked, I can ask that again. So semantic view is another way I can enable my data consumers to go in, see the data, get the query as well. And if needed, they can tweak the query. So you see, giving them an accurate query, I don't have to go in and try different uh, columns, try different group buys, order by, or even joins. I have one shot, I have what I can get, looks good, I have a query as well. So this is another way we can enable the consumers for accessing data from semantic views, and it is more accurate. And this will also give you a physical query as well. Going to the second part is where we can talk about the downstream data share. So we enabled Streamlit app for C-level executive. We got Cortex analysts for people who are not SQL handy. They don't know much in SQL. They can just write queries here, put prompt, and they'll get the data. Now we're going to talk about, let's say Kushagra has a downstream team sitting in a different region, a different Snowflake account, and we want to send them data securely, governed, and controlled. What we can do is we can create a share, and that's the syntax for that. And you create a share, you give the usage on that database to that share, to the schema, and to the tables. Once that is done, I can just run this command. This is our downstream consumer where we have to add the access for this data share. Once I do this, this is my target account where I enable the data share. So if you see, if I go here and I go external sharing, I'll see a direct data share coming here, billing data products, which I enabled. And from the customer account, this is the customer account, I can just query the data real time. The moment Kushagra makes an update, I will have that data here, and I have all those tables coming out here. So what we showed is semantic views, Streamlit app, and now data sharing all across the data product which you have built, different use cases, different consumers, the same data. So coming back to example, same electric socket, but used by a laptop, used by a kettle or a TV. One more thing another use case I can give you is, what if you want to give access to your existing team members in your team? We can create a role. We can create a specific role for data marketing analysis or sales analyst, and we can give them specific access to that specific table, so they can go and query data as well. Apart from semantic tables, semantic views, Streamlit tab, data sharing, internally also you can do that. I think that's pretty much from my side. I've covered three data products, how we can enable them, and how those same data product can be leveraged and used on different ways and different audience and different consumers.